All right, so today we're going to deep dive into some really practical ways to improve, your English conversation skills,
Oh, yeah.
which I think is like a really valuable skill set these days.
Oh,
It
yeah, absolutely.
opens up so many doors personally and professionally.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm excited to get into this. I know you sent over like some really good material.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a mix of like articles and your own personal notes on it. So
Yeah, we'll cover it all.
I think that's going to be a great place for us to start with this deep dive.
For sure, for sure.
So one of the things that I was really interested in that I saw from the notes that you sent over
Mm-hmm.
is the fact that we're going to focus on, things that people can do daily
Yeah.
and only for like 15 minutes a
Right.
day.
Yeah, that's the key. Because people always think that, learning a language has to be this huge, this big endeavor.
Right.
Where you have to, quit your job and go live in a country or something like that.
Yeah, you got to go full immersion.
Yeah, exactly. And, most people can't do that. Yeah.
So the idea is like, okay, if we can just take like 15 minutes a day, consistently and focus on certain things,
Right.
then that can really add up over time.
I love that. So it's like little wins.
The wins, exactly.
Yeah, that build to the bigger, end goal of being able to have conversations and all that good stuff.
Absolutely.
So I guess let's jump into habit number 1 then,
Okay.
which I think is probably the most important, and that is active listening.
Yes, active listening. I mean, that's the foundation of it all, right? I mean, if you can't listen and understand what someone's saying,
Right.
then you can't really have a conversation.
It's hard to respond.
Right. And, there's been a lot of research on this. I mean, there's this study from the University of California
Oh, wow.
that found that learners who really focused on active listening,
Mm-hmm.
they showed like huge improvements
Right.
in their fluency and their comprehension when they were speaking.
Oh, wow. That's really good. So we're talking about dedicating like 5 to 10 minutes a day to really listening to English audio.
Yeah. So what does that actually look like in practice?
Well, I mean, one thing I always recommend is podcasts.
Okay.
There's so many great podcasts out there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And, a lot of them are designed specifically for English learners, too.
Yeah. Are there any ones that you would recommend?
Yeah. I mean, one that comes to mind is called English Learning for Curious Minds.
Okay.
And it's really great because they cover all these like really interesting topics,
Oh, cool.
but they speak at a slightly slower pace, which is really helpful for, if you're not like a super advanced learner.
Right, right.
And they also provide transcripts and like vocabulary explanations and stuff. So
Oh, cool. That's good.
yeah, it's really helpful.
Okay, I'm adding that to my list.
Sure.
I actually have been listening to a lot of podcasts lately,
Oh, yeah,
just kind of in my daily life, and I've noticed it's been helping a lot.
absolutely.
I love true crime, so I'm like always listening to those.
Nice.
But I like that they also offer the transcripts, because sometimes it is helpful to be able to like go back and be like, wait, what was that word? Or
Right.
yeah.
Exactly. And there's actually a really cool technique that you can do with podcasts. It's called shadowing.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of this?
I haven't. What is that?
So basically, you listen to the podcast and you try to like mimic the speaker,
Oh, wow.
like their pronunciation and their intonation,
Oh, okay.
almost like you're their shadow.
Oh, so it's almost like you're speaking along with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it might feel a little awkward at first,
Right.
but it's seriously so effective
Oh, that's a good idea.
for improving your own like speech patterns.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to have to try that. I've never actually tried shadowing before, but that sounds like a really
Yeah, you should try it.
interesting technique.
Yeah.
So, okay, we're listening, we're shadowing,
Mm-hmm.
but eventually we're going to have to start talking, right?
Of course. Yeah, I mean, listening is great,
Yeah.
but, at some point you got to open your mouth
You gotta speak.
and actually speak.
Right.
So, habit number 2 is all about speaking practice.
Okay, so how much time are we dedicating to this per day?
Again, like 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay, so 5 to 10 minutes of listening,
Yeah,
5 to 10 minutes of speaking.
exactly.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
So what does this look like in practice? Because I feel
Right.
like a lot of people will be like, well, I don't have anyone to talk to.
Yeah, that's a common problem.
So what are some things that people can do?
Well, I mean, one thing you can do is just like talk to yourself.
Okay.
It might sound a little crazy, but
Right.
like describe your surroundings, as if you were giving like a tour to someone.
So like narrate your life.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Or you could try like summarizing something that you've read,
Okay.
like a news article or a book chapter.
Okay.
Just practice like, getting those thoughts and ideas out
Right.
in English.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah, and of course, there's always language exchange apps and websites.
Oh, yeah. Those are super helpful.
Yeah, like Hello. Or Tandem.
Right. I've heard of those.
You can connect with native speakers who are trying to learn your language.
Yeah.
So it's like a win-win.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually used one of those when I was learning Spanish, and it was really helpful.
Yeah, they can be really good.
Really helpful, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've got listening, we've got speaking.
Yes.
What is habit number 3?
Habit number 3 is all about phrases and idioms.
Okay, yeah.
So the idea here is to try to learn and use like one new phrase or idiom every day.
Okay.
Because, idioms, they're like the spices of a language.
Oh, yeah, they're so fun.
They add so much flavor and personality.
Right.
And they really help you sound more natural and fluent.
For sure, and they're really hard.
They can be tricky, yeah.
Yeah, because like if you don't grow up with them,
Right.
it's like, what are you talking about?
Exactly.
Yeah. I actually had this funny experience one time where I was trying to wish someone good luck.
Oh.
And so I told them to break a leg. And they were like looking at me like I was crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And I had to explain, like, no. This is an idiom.
It's a good luck thing.
It's a good luck thing. I'm not wishing you to actually break your leg.
Right.
And they're like, oh, okay.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So those are important to learn, but it can be a little bit tricky.
It can be tricky, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's so worth it.
Definitely. Okay. So we've got those 3 habits: listening, speaking, and learning phrases and idioms.
Mm-hmm.
What about reading and vocabulary? How do those fit in?
Yeah, so habit number 4 is all about reading.
Okay.
Reading is such a great way to expand your vocabulary.
Yeah.
And also to see, like, correct grammar in use.
Like in context.
Yeah, exactly. And just like with listening, you want to choose material that you actually enjoy.
Right.
So whether that's, fiction or nonfiction or, even just blog posts or social media captions.
Yeah, I like that because it's, like you said earlier, it's about little wins.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're reading something you enjoy,
Right.
you're more likely to stick with it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
It shouldn't feel like a chore.
Definitely.
It should be something that you're interested in.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're reading, and then habit number 5 is vocabulary, I'm assuming.
Exactly. So habit number 5 is all about keeping a vocabulary journal.
Okay.
So this doesn't have to be anything fancy,
Okay. Great.
just every day, write down, 2 or 3 new words that you've encountered
Okay.
and write down like the definition
Yeah.
and maybe like an example sentence.
Oh, so you're like making your own dictionary?
Yeah, kind of. It's like your personal dictionary.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so are there any other tools or resources that you recommend for vocabulary building? Because I know, like, back in the day, I was all about flashcards.
Oh, yeah. Flashcards are great.
Yeah.
And there are also some really cool apps out there now.
Okay.
Like Anki. Have you heard of that one?
I haven't. No.
So Anki uses this thing called spaced repetition,
Okay.
which basically means that it shows you the words
Right.
at increasing intervals. So like, you might see a word today and then tomorrow and then like in 3 days and then a week later.
Oh, wow. So it's like helping you to actually remember it long term.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's really effective.
Okay, awesome. So just to kind of wrap things up, the 5 habits that we talked about today are listening, speaking, learning phrases and idioms, reading, and building your vocabulary.
Exactly.
I love that we were able to break this down into such like manageable chunks because I think it's really encouraging to know that you don't have to spend hours and hours every day
Right.
to make progress.
No, not at all.
You can just do these little things consistently. Yeah, consistency is key. And you'll start to see the results over time.
Absolutely. And, it's not just about like, becoming fluent or whatever.
Right.
It's about like developing a love for the language.
Yes.
And enjoying the process.
Yeah, for sure. It's like you were saying earlier, those little wins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It makes me think like if language is a reflection of culture, do you think that by learning English, we're also kind of changing our perspective on the world?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
I'd love to maybe dive into that a little bit more in another deep dive.
Yeah, for sure.
But for now, thank you so much for all of this information.
Absolutely.
It's super helpful.
I'm glad.
And to everyone listening out there, remember every small step counts.
Yes.
So keep practicing, and we'll see you next time.
See you later.